Ooh, isn't that cool? Hey, if you want to learn how to install that ceiling fan, stick around. Ooh, what is my project today? I got a smoke alarm here, a wax ring, some caulking, some dimmer switches, a light fixture even. Well, this particular video is going to be how to install a dimmer light switch, and this happens to be able to be installed on a single pole, which is for just one light or a couple lights that are controlled at one location, or it can also be controlled at a three-way switch. And here's a three-way switch. This is a three-way switch when you can turn these lights on from right here and from over there. That's how I'm going to install this as a three-way. If you want to watch that, stick around. That's funny too. Are all light switches created equal? Heavens no. You got single pole, you got three-way light switches. Did you know they even have four-way light switches? You got dimmer switches, you got lit dimmer switches, you got on and off dimmer switches, you got single pole dimmer switches, you got three-way light switches, dimmer switches, you have lit single gang switches. See this one here? Oh, that's a three-way lit, meaning this top, and this is a three-way lit, meaning the top. And you have a single pole lit that you can get at the store. There's all kinds of different light switches, and they don't all hook up the same, because this dimmer switch, I was looking all over at the Home Depot and I thought they didn't carry them anymore. And I thought, you know, I'm looking for slide dimmer with preset switch. This is the preset switch. Say that fast 3 times. And you can turn it on off here, and then you can dim it. Or you can get one without the little switch right here with just the dimmer, and then push it down at the very end, and you'll feel it click down all the way. And with this one here, you can install it a single pole or a three-way. See here? Single pole or three-way. And I was looking at the store, I'm looking for slide dimmers, three-way slide dimmer or something, you know, three-way up here. And I thought, they don't carry them anymore. What's the deal? Because they used to not make them so that you can do it either single pole or three-way. For one single switch, you would have to get a dimmer switch for a single pole, or a separate dimmer switch that already was pre-wired for three-way. Well, that's kind of slick. So this one will do either or. So that's why I'm going to use that, and I'm not even quite sure how to hook this up. I'm going to have to read the directions on that little bugger to find that out. And, you know, I'm going to have to turn the power off, and then I'm going to need to figure out where to put it. And see, that switch controls this light. It also controls this over here. And we've got this switch here. So where am I going to put that slide dimmer? You might think, what difference does it make? Joe, just stick that sucker in. Well, it does make a difference, because this one at night is lit. You can see how it's kind of lit here. This whole area lights up. On this one, it's down here at the bottom that all lights up. I have no idea why one is up high, one is down low. It's probably because this was a three-way switch and they inverted it. Or maybe it's just because the switch is turned off down there. If I were to turn, I'm just curious on myself now. See how it's lit? This one's lit, this section. This one's lit up here. I'm gonna turn, you know, I don't think it's gonna matter. I really don't think it's gonna matter if I turn this the other way. Okay, that's the three-way, because see now, these lights right here are on, right here. So if I turn this one off, I'm just curious if it's gonna light up. Nope. See, it's lit down here. This one's lit up here. Had they have wanted to, they could have flipped this around. There's probably a right and wrong upside down way to do that, in case you want the light down here, or if you want it lit up here, you know? This one could be installed properly. Maybe this one's installed incorrectly. I don't know if it really matters, you know? Just something I'm thinking about. And so, see, at night, this one, I was trying to get a switch just like this with the switch at the bottom and the dimmer, and it lit. You know, a few years ago, I was able to find it at the store, but nowadays, I could not find it. And so, this one is not going to be lit at night. Now see, this is a single pole dimmer. And see that little orange deal right there? It's lit. So at night, if I'm fumbling around in the dark, I know exactly where this is because that's lit. Okay? Now, if I'm fumbling around in the dark in the master bedroom, I want to come out here late at night, I can't see anything. I can't see this switch, can I? I might be feeling around, getting my dirty, grubby fingers all around on the wall after, you know, a month or not a month, maybe a few months or something. If I had dirty hands, I wash my hands. I keep them clean before I go to bed, okay? But I'm saying I don't want to have to feel all around for this switch late at night, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this dimmer switch over here. That makes sense? And I'm going to take this switch, which is the same as that three-way switch over there, except this one's lit. I'm going to put this lit one over there. Two ways to skin a cat, right? I was at the store contemplating what to do. I thought, oh, well, I'm not going to drive around all tarnation trying to find one of these, and maybe I'd have to order it online or something like that. I thought, nothing doing. I'm getting what they have. And so I'm going to put this right there. In fact, you know, once I get done with that, I'm going to be installing another dimmer. Because remember, I've got two of them. I've got two slide dimmers with preset switch. And this one can be single pole or three-way. It's the very same as this. And the reason why I got this kind is because this little particular knob handle matches that. I always try to do that. They have some that this sticks out kind of at a little bit of an angle, and it kind of comes out kind of straight, a little square. But I didn't want that because these are this other way. So I always try to match the existing conditions whenever I can. And so now the question becomes, where am I going to put that other one? Am I going to put the other one here at the top of the stairs or down there? Well, I'm going to put it at the top. No. Let's see. How am I going to do that? It's only going to be late at night if I ever need to do anything. See? And so I am going to keep this lit one here, and I'm going to put the dimmer switch down there, because late at night I'm not going to be down there, okay, fumbling my way up the stairs. And if so, we've got a little night light down there. Kaboom! That lights up at night, and we've got some other stuff that lights up at night downstairs. And you know, I can walk up the stairs without any problem late at night anyways. I still have to install the handrail here, and the reason why I took it down was because I repainted it. I'm going to paint it down, and then I'm going to change all the hardware to nickel finish instead of the gold shiny brass look. And so anyways, that's why that's down for right now. But so, you know, think a little bit when you're at the store or your existing conditions. Figure out what type of material you need at the store. And maybe if you have another area where you are just set on wanting to know, do they have a dimmer switch that happens to be a three-way, that happens to be lit at the top? I'm here to say I put one in at a house, but that was probably 3 years ago. So maybe the store doesn't carry them anymore. Maybe another hardware store happens to carry them. Maybe I'd have to find it at Amazon. You know, something exactly like this that was lit. And if that's something you really need to have, look around before you settle. But in my case, I'm going to stick those up. Okay? Now, of course, the first thing I have to do before I do anything, is I'm going to turn the power off. And I'm not sure, oh, I left the cover plate off of this after I painted because I knew I was going to be replacing this. And here it's been sitting here for a week or so with no cover plate. Actually longer than that with no cover plate on that one there. But I need to turn the power off. To get to my switches, do not, and I repeat, do not install and work on any light switches or electrical items with the power on. And remember, if you've been watching my videos, I've told you before, when you're looking at light switches or electrical outlets, say the garbage disposal switch on your kitchen counter, maybe there's an electrical outlet next to it, maybe there's another switch next to it. You could have more than one circuit in here. So just because I figure out where the power is for this, I'm going to have to check and make sure this is off too. And you know what? I know for a fact that there's two different circuits in here because I know this particular switch for these lights here go on a different breaker, because when I was turning off the electrical breaker for a GFI electrical outlet on the deck that I had to replace, these lights went off too. And this one is on a separate breaker in the garage. So I've got to look for those two different breakers. So next time you start wanting to get your fingers inside an electrical light switch location, especially a 2-gang or a 3-gang or a 2-gang or a 3-gang with two switches and an electrical outlet, or a switch and electrical outlet or something like that, just double check and make sure you don't turn the power off on one thinking the power's off on everything else and then electrocute yourself. Okay, so I'm going to turn the breakers off and then we'll get going. Now I turn the power off to both upstairs light and deck plugs. No lit covers, right? So I am safe. I am safe to go. And I can check it. Boop, 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 boop. Nothing. Get that. Nothing. Okay. Come over here if you're not quite sure. And this is a 3-way, like I said. When you see that electrical light switch over here controls these lights, as well as over at another place. Once you turn the breaker off, you could still check it after you get your breaker off, just to be on the safe side. But they're interconnected. The power from this light switch goes over to that light switch, then goes up to the lights. Or the power goes from there over to the other light switch and then up to the lights. However it works, okay? Make sure you've got your power off. Okay, so I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do this, this particular video yet. If I'm gonna make a separate video on removing, just swapping out light switches, or what I'm gonna do. But on this one is staying. We're never going to be moving that, right? Because that's going down the stairs. Because here's the other thing. I'm not gonna take both lit switches out at the top of dark staircase. You see what I'm saying? It seems as though both of these are lit when the power's on, right? I might as well keep one of those. That's why I'm going to keep the lit one here, and then put the other 3-way down at the bottom of the stairs. Okay? And I was just curious if both of these were facing up or if there's an actual top and bottom. And oh, I do see it. I do see it. I do declare. See, even on 3-ways, it's like, does it matter which way install 3-ways? See that right there? You see that? It says top. Now over here, I should see that same thing that says top, and I don't see it, and the writing is upside down. And so if I'm correct, the top should be over right there upside down. Is it? I think it is. So see, the only reason why that matters is because they decided initially they wanted the power facing up, I guess. Because a three-way switch, whenever you install a three-way switch, should it really matter which side you have it up or down? Probably shouldn't. But, you know, for some reason, it's upside down. Okay. So this I'm going to take out. And the other one, I might contemplate, should I go the extra mile and remove this and flip it around upside, you know, and put it right side up? I don't really think it matters. But if you want to, you can do it. You can do it. This box is probably packed with wires too, so I'm pulling this for all I'm worth. Ooh, okay. And something dropped. Oh, it's the back. See, it's the back side of this. It's just a little washer, and you can put it on there, and it keeps your screws from getting lost, let's say. And sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. Since they got it, I'm just going to leave it on here for next time I use this switch, because this three-way switch is still good. I'm going to save it, put it in my bag of goodies and stuff. And a three-way switch generally has 2 blacks and a red. And we do see 2 blacks here and the red wire. Okay? And so I need to make sure that when I take this other one out, let's just take this other one out over here now. Because I think you see this one here. On a three-way switch, usually there's 1 separate screw on one side and 2 on the other side. And that's interesting. See, that screw on the bottom is a black screw. This one's a gold screw. And that might be for a reason. That might be power in, power out. And I'm going to look and see on this other one where this red wire is, if it's hooked to just the 1 screw side over here. Because when I take this out, I want to rehook this up. Remember? Let's see. Let's see, what is happening here? What is happening here? Oh, that's right. I'm like thinking to myself, why am I taking this out? Well, I'm taking it out because this one was the lit three-way switch, right? This is the lit one. That one is not a lit three-way switch. So when I come out of there, out of the bedroom, late at night, I can just hit the regular three-way switch. And these lights out here, those 2 lights will light up. And I can leave this one over here. When I put the dimmer switch in, I can put the dimmer, you know, almost all the way down, all the way. So when I hit this switch over here late at night, it doesn't like blind me with this light in my face. You know what I mean? Seems as though I'm going to have a dimmer. So before I disconnect that, I'm going to look at this over here because I want to get it. I want to get it same. I'm not sure. And see that one over there, I'm going to be putting over here. This one, I'm going to be saving because it's still good. It's still a good three-way light switch. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. Because is there a certain way to rehook up the wires for a three-way switch? Absolutely. There is. And I want to make sure I do it the same. Okay? Because I wasn't the last person. I wasn't the person to wire this house, this condo. And every electrician seems to wire things slightly different. Oh, joystick. Okay. I see there's the orange or the red wire is up high here. Now the black wire's over here. And should I look at that and see if they installed top to top? And yes, they did. And you can you see that right there? Should say top. And it's up on the left, and that might make a difference too when you're installing your three-ways. Thinking I'm gonna reinstall everything the same, and if one is flipped upside down, the wiring could be slightly different when you flip it right side up. You see what I'm saying? You've got to make sure that your wires kind of come along with you. Okay, so when I take that switch out over here, that's what confuses me sometimes on how did they wire this from before. Okay, because when I get ready to hook it up, I may have to do some trial and error over here on knowing, okay, which is power and all that kind of stuff. In fact, before I rehook up that light switch, the old light switch, the lit light switch over here, when I take this out, I think what I might want to do is turn the power back on and see which one is the power and which one is the power that goes up to the light switch, let's say, and that kind of stuff, so that when I read the directions on my dimmer and they tell me how to hook it up, I don't have any guesswork. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm gonna disconnect this light switch right here. Okay, that's what I'm going to do next. Step by step, come on, follow me, and we'll get this project taken care of. Okay, so all of these wires have been attached, wrapped around the screw. They could have possibly, well, sometimes switches can be hooked up from the back side, but I see this one, there's no holes there, there's no slots per se. So I think what I'm going to do is just take these screws out all the way, because when I take that switch, that other one out, I'm going to rehook it up this very same way over here. Okay, and I can just take the side screws out of it, just like I'm doing now. Then I don't have to take the curly Q out or anything. You know, what I used to do is take the curly Q out, cut it, restrip it, bend the wires back. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. And that red wire is going up to the top. Okay, and the black wire is at the bottom, and I want to kind of remember that. I'm going to put these screws back in now, because I'm going to save this switch, and the backing piece was getting ready to come out. So I'm just gonna put them in now. I used to just put them in later, you know. But see, like I say, this is a good three-way switch. So when I put it in my box, I'm gonna have to put some masking tape on it on the back or something, put three-way on it. You know what I mean? So that I know for myself. So now I can just take that, and I've got to remember that was top facing up, and see, I'm going to do those last on my wires, on my light switch. So see, now I can just take this and twist it. That way I don't have to use my left hand over here, funky. I'm right-handed, so when I take this out, I'm going to hook these two up first. See? Does that make sense? And I flipped it. I just flipped it upside down, didn't I? Yes. So I got to remember that. I've got the other one facing upside down. And hopefully the screw pattern is the same as this. I think it is. I should look at that other switch, shouldn't I? I'm hoping that that other switch is hooked up exactly the same way as this one. Okay, better be, or else I'm going to have some issues going on. Okay, all right. So even sometimes three-ways give me fits once in a while when I take somebody else's out. If I was installing a three-way, then I would know. And years ago, the light switches were set up a certain way. And you would know which wire, the red one. Oh yeah, the red one just gets installed on the opposite side every time, no matter what. Well, on this particular case, it didn't, did it? It did not. The black did. And that's throwing me slightly for a quandary, but I'll figure it out. I always seem to be able to figure it out. Okay. Now I'm wondering, I'm going to look at the other light switch here a minute and take a quick look at that. If I wasn't making a video, I'd be kind of checking out things pretty much the same way. Okay. And you see, that's funny because when I'm looking at this, it's wired slightly different, and it might be, but everything's same for same. Do you see what I mean? There's a ground. Well, if you can't see it, there's a ground and the single screw is on this side. Then we've got the two gold screws on that side. This is top. This is facing top to the left. So when I take this out and put it over where I just took this one out, I'm going to hook this one up exactly the same way I did this one. Okay, does that make sense? Then I'll have to look at this and figure out what the heck is going on. So I don't think I have to turn the power on just yet. I'm gonna take this one out and I'm gonna put it back together exactly like I took this one out over here. Okay, because I want to keep that same for same exactly. I don't want to mess around with that. Okay, then I'll turn the breaker off, look at this, figure out where the power is, and probably the power to the three-way switches are probably in this box here, because there's this junction box is bigger. I see all kinds of wires back in there, some wire nets and all that kind of good stuff. And when I look over here, this box is not as full. See, there's only two main cables in there because this is just a single gang. So I know, you know what that tells me? That tells me all the power first went into this light switch box here. Okay, then the power went from this three-way, boom, 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 came over here where this red wire is. That's the power in, and then the power out to the lights went right from there, boom, 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 boom. Okay, and so I'm gonna take this out, and I'm just going to kind of leave the wires kind of situated how they are, and that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so for the time being, I don't know. I think see, usually on this I could cut the wires off, but I don't want to cut the wires off and get anything confused. Plus, these wires aren't that long. They're coming out. These are little pigtails. And I think for the sake of argument, I'm going to just undo these screws here all the way instead of cut the wires off. Because see, I don't need the Twizzler on there for when I hook up, when I put the dimmer switch in. And I've got to put the dimmer switch in here, and that's going to be quite the little thing to do too, because there's so many wires back in here. And this time I'm going to just leave it I'm not going to twist it around like I did before. Okay. But I think I'll be able to fit it in here. You see, sometimes it's kind of difficult to get your dimmer switch in a single gang box if you got too many wires in there. Now, if I was putting it in over on the other side, it would have been okay. I would have had enough room. I got to remember this black screw goes into the bottom over there. And see, those little gold things are wanting to fall off. I don't know what the deal is with this. See, they don't make things like they used to in the old days. Like I say, I don't work on three-ways that often. And when I do, I just have to kind of think about things a little. So I'm going to put this back together because I don't want those little gold flap things falling out, because I'm actually going to use this light switch again over there. Okay. Oh, I hope I don't confuse myself here. I don't think I will. I don't think I'll confuse myself. If I do, I might have to play this whole video back, huh? Play the video back so I remember. But the dimmer switch is usually fatter than regular switches like these. Maybe not too much thicker. So I got to make sure I've got enough room pushed in there. And I think there's enough room. I can see back in there. Usually with the 2-gang box, the wire nuts fit in there better, way back in the back and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so far so good. I don't even care about this right now. I want to hook this back up the same way I took the other one out. So I want to do that next before I forget how to do it. Now you remember when I was taking that other light switch out, they have everything curly cued around the outside screws. Remember I said sometimes there's a hole on the back side. Well, these don't necessarily have a hole. Some in the old days, years ago, they used to have holes where you could just poke a wire. Well, now, see, that's what that tab was for. Remember when I took that out, this tab was floating back and forth here, see? See how it kind of comes out like that? Well, that's if you want to just poke your wire straight in, and then this would act as a shim or a flap. So when you tighten this screw down, it tightens down that flap right on your wire. Because see, here's where 2 holes could be, and you could put your black wire either there or there. You see, same for this side. You could put it either there or there once you loosen that up and pull that back. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what that little metal thing is for. Here's the other one up here. You loosen that up a little bit, pull that back, flap that back, and push the wire in that way. If you don't want to twist it. Most electricians usually like to twist it. Then you're assured it's never going to slip out of the back. You see? Okay? So, you remember how I'm going to do it? I'm going to face this upside down, because see, remember, this is top, is up on the left-hand side. I'm going to flip it around. Here's the ground screw, here's the black screw. And that's for my 2 on that side, because you always want them curly cueing the right direction. As you're tightening the screw, the wires should be wrapped around the same direction, and they are. Good on them. Okay. So now I'm gonna put this back on, and on the ground. Remember, did I take the ground screw off? I think I did. Let's see, I might be able to get it on there, but it's kind of tricky without moving that wire. And
Oh, I think I remember. I put the black one on. See, I just twist that on there. And I took the screw out on the ground. Okay. And see, on that black wire, I could have pinched it together a little bit more. But the last person, they didn't have it pinched. And so I was able to just flop it right around. Usually, gotta get it on there. Just make that tight. I'm going to loosen this screw up, and I'm going to kind of pinch the end down. That way it's assured of never coming loose. It's not going to come loose. See, now I got it on there where it's not going to fall and it's going the right direction and stuff. Did I really have to do that? The head on the screw is big enough that I shouldn't have had any problems with it. Okay, like that. And then remember, I took that and just twizzled it up like that. And now the red screw's up at the top, the black screw's at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to screw that on there and we're going to get ready for our next step. Okay, so I put those two in. Everything is like for like. I didn't do anything different, did I, on this? So I should be fine. And so I'm gonna push these wires back in, and kind of I like to kind of make sure the wires get pushed in all the way. You see my little screw came off, but that's okay. I'm just gonna take it off all the way. I'm gonna save those two little things, those two little washers, cardboard washers, for something else. I don't need those. In fact, I don't need these screws right now. I like to take this and just push it straight in and make sure it's going in straight. That's my little pet peeve. Make sure this goes out straight, not at an angle, so that when the cover plate goes on, the cover plate is going to go on nice and straight, you know. It's like that ground screw is right up in there. Okay, it'll fit. Okay, so now I'll hold that up there, look at it, see if I need to tweak it a little bit. Hold it back up there. And that's going to be fine. Now see, I couldn't have done that if these screws were in there, right? That's why I like to take those out. All right, so I'm going to screw that back together, get my get everything buttoned back up the way I found it. Oh, that's funny. I actually screwed this all in, but I'm gonna leave it out because I want to turn the power back on. Is it possible that the main power goes here, then from here over to the other one, then from the other one up? Yes, it is very possible because there's two sets of wires in here. In the back, there's two blacks, two whites, one red, two grounds, and I see two pieces of Romex there. One is a 12-3, one's a 12-2. And you see, it could also be possible that the main power is coming in here. And if so, then the main power would go from here over to that light switch, and then from there up to the two light switches. Or it can go the other way. The main power could start there over to that light switch, and then from there up to the lights. So I kind of want to find that out before I screw this one in. It's not going to affect me having to move this at all because
The other light switch was screwed in this way. But I want to find out for myself where the main power is coming in to these boxes. Is the main power over here, or is the main power over there? I kind of need to know that so that I can know how to read the directions on the back of this and hook it up for my three-way, okay? It's kind of important you find that out. Okay, I turned the main power on, and I'm touching this black wire and this ground wire. See, the light's on my green tester. It's not on there, it's not on there. It's just on there. And when I go to the other light, no matter which wire I choose, it's not going to go on. So I think initially I was correct, saying the power comes from that other box. I press on the ground screw, nothing, nothing, and nothing. And there's nothing on there because there's no switch in the wall there now. Okay, this is electrical 101 for you. Okay, so I know the main power coming to those light switches is that wire. Oh, I gotta be careful with that. That's still on. I could touch that with my finger. Did you know that? I could touch that without getting shocked as long as I'm not touching something else at the same time. And let's see. Okay, so I know it's that bottom one. That one right there. Okay, that's the power in. Okay, so then you got two feeds of power going over to the other light switch, and then from that other light switch you got that other wire that goes up to the lights. So this, there's no power that goes up to the light fixtures themselves. Does that make sense? We needed to know all that in order to be able to read the directions on here and know how to hook this up, because it's for single pole and it's also for three-way. Okay? And so, very important that we figure that out. And for three-way, does it matter if it's the first switch on the power that comes in for a three-way or the second? I don't really think it matters. Okay? I'll have to read the directions on there and figure it out. I'm pretty sure it does not matter, but I'll get back to you on that one. And I've noticed this light switch here. Can you see how it's kind of coming out? I look at that, it's kind of coming out at an angle. That's because it's tweaked. So I'm going to turn the power back off on this so that there's no power in here. There's two breakers I've got shut off, you know, initially. One for there, one for here. This breaker's on. I'm going to turn this breaker back off. Then I'm going to unscrew this, pull it out so I can tweak it over and push it back in. Okay, I'm going to do that. Then we're going to look at this after that and make a determination how we're going to hook all of this up onto that dimmer three-way switch. Okay, so I remember that's the power coming into that box. And then you can figure out what is the power coming into this box by looking at that. And when I look back in there, I see that this black wire, you can't see this right now, but I can see it in there. This was the black wire that comes from that other box that powers this. This red and the black over here are going up to the light switch, or to the lights, the light fixtures. Okay, so we'll just have to kind of, well, I thought they were. Scratch this one. Yeah, like I said, three-way light switches, I have to really think about them a little bit and do investigating on them and stuff. So I know the power is that one. Okay. So then when it hooks into the light switch, these two get powered and they come over here to the light switch. Okay? And this black wire and the red wire come over here from that And then it feeds this black wire here must be the power that goes out. Maybe that's why they had it a black screw on it. Maybe I'm not quite sure why. They used to do these differently. When I hooked up three-way switches years ago in residential, they used to always have the red wire on this side. Okay, but it doesn't really matter whether or not the red wire is on that side or not. This is the three-way side that gives power either side at any one time. When you turn this off, the other switch is on because you've got the this power leg on. And so when you turn the light switch on, it's going to throw power to this black wire, and it's hooked up to a white wire, and those go up to here. Well, if I were to take this out, there's a black and white wire up there. If I were to take that out, there's a black and white wire up to there. So the black and white wire that go from here probably go up to here, and then from there over to there. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. And I'm going to leave this one unscrewed like that until we get the dimmer switch installed. Okay, so it will make sense to you all the way. Now let's look at something here. They used to have the three-way was actually different. The three-ways kind of looked like the back of a regular light switch, maybe, but now they have this box in here so they can make it a three-way or a single pole. So here's you turn that on and off. Here's the slide, and see, it's really the same thickness. I'm glad about that. And when I look at this, of course it came with some little wire nuts inside, and I'll have to cut those wires back and just leave a little end out so that I can connect everything with these little orange screws. And you see, most of the time light switches just have two black wires coming out of it, but this has a black and a red. They're actually using this red as a black. These are the two powers, the main powers in and out. They don't even have those labeled because I don't think it really matters which goes where. Okay, this is the one that matters. See, it says this wire is used in three-way installations only. For single pole installations, do not remove this insulating label. And see, it's not been stripped back. So if you were to use this as a single pole light dimmer, not a three-way, just where a switch goes from there up to your lights, and you can only control your light at one location, you'd only hook up these two wires. You see what I mean? But in a three-way condition, you're going to hook this extra wire up. And generally, the extra wire is hooked up to the red wire that's coming out of your box. Because remember, we had power. The main power is this line that comes in. Then you've got the black and the red that go out to the three-way switch. One of those is the power going out there. And, well, both of them are powers, but you have to hook it in such a way to where when one switch is off, you still have power to control the other switch to where when you turn that on, it goes on. Do you see what I mean? That way you can turn it on at either light switch. And so when I look at this switch, and a single pole switch usually just has two screws on it like that. Nothing over here. Okay, that's what was throwing me. This screw here is where I would normally hook up the red wire, the jumper wire, to go between three-way switches on this side. Okay, and that's how this was before. The ground wire was up high. Remember, we've got the top is right there, and the red wire was over here. That's the three-way jumper wire that goes over to the other light switch. Okay, and then your main power in and out goes over there. But that's what was throwing me. That was what was throwing me, because I'm not sure if the electrician hook this up right initially. And I'm going to leave it like this, and I'm going to try to hook up that dimmer switch over there and see if it's going to work. Because see, the red wire is on this side with the 2 screws, when I would have thought the red wire should be over on this side. Now, is it going to matter? I kind of think it's going to matter. I'm not sure why it didn't matter from before when they hooked this up. Do you remember? The red wire is on this side with the 2 screws, see? And on the other switch, the red wire is hooked up on just the single screw over there. Unless they have it to where nowadays one of these screws is where the red wire goes. Whereas always on all the 3-way switches I ever did years ago, mind you, from scratch, the single switch screw would be on this side or on one side or the other, and that's where the red wire would go. That makes sense? I might be confusing you, but just follow with me. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strip these wires back over here. Okay, I'm going to get them all set up for the dimmer switch. And the power's off on this, and that's the other thing. If you go back and forth like I did to figure out which is which, and you back and forth meaning turn the power on, first turn it off to pull everything out, then turn it back on to test wires to see where the actual power is coming in. Is it coming in from this box or the other box? Then you got to remember to turn the breaker back off. There's been a couple times where I got to think about it. Let's see, wait, before I touch this, do I have the breaker on or off? So be careful about that. I know the breaker's off, and I've just tested it again just for my own safety. And it's this wire, okay? But I pulled this one out already, twisted over, screwed it back in, and hopefully I don't have to pull that out when I get ready to put the other dimmer switch in down there. I'll make a different video of that, but I'm thinking I can do the power figuring out without taking this one out. That kind of remains to be seen. You have to watch that a different time. But on this particular video, we're installing one dimmer and one dimmer only at this location. Okay, so since all these wires has the twizzle on there, the curly Q from the old, taking the switch off. Should I cut those off? I don't think I'm going to. Because the wires, I don't want the wires to start getting too short. I mean, they're fine right now. But, if they were longer, and if I wanted to really start pulling things out of the wall, I could cut these off, let's say, instead of just straightening them out. And once I straighten it out, I'm gonna cut the wire off a little bit. See, that's all I got to do now. I just cut the wire. I'm gonna cut the wire. I thought that shocked me, but it didn't. I'm standing on carpet, and I just got a little, I don't know what, static shock from sliding my feet around. Okay. So I've got to cut that off because I don't want that sticking out too far, because the orange wire nuts are only going to go on so far, and I don't want any of the raw copper showing on the back side. So I'll cut those short a little bit. I'd rather do this than cut the wire, back here. Then I've got to strip it back further. And now my wire's a little bit shorter. If you think you got enough wire in the box to do that, have at it. Okay, I got to remember, that's the power, okay? That's the power wire coming into the box. I don't think I'll forget. You could always put some masking tape on it, do something, but
most of the time you'll remember. Worst case scenario, you got to go and turn the breaker back off or on and figure it out. See, now I still have the bends in them, so I can fish everything back in there. And I'll cut these wires back a ways, because I'm not going to have a yellow wire nut on there or a red or anything like that. So I'm only having it stick out a little, maybe 5/16 or no more than 3/8 maybe, something like that. Of course, the ground wire, I don't have to cut that off, do I? Okay, there's your next step. We're getting ready to put this dimmer switch on. Now I'm going to look at this dimmer. Lots of times they don't leave me very much room here, but that looks pretty good actually. Okay, so I'm just pulling those little end pieces off. And this is stranded wire, so I just like to twist it on there like that. I'll do that to all of them. And now this red, this right here, I'm going to strip that off, and I could probably just leave this tag on here if I want. Maybe I should for the next person who gets in this box. And I happen to have a little bit of electrical tape here. Oh, I don't use my tape very often. I say that, but the last couple of videos I've used it. I'm just going to pull off a little piece. I'm just going to leave this on. Remember, that's the one that goes for the three-way. So I'm just going to wrap the little bottom of that tag. I'm not going to wrap the whole thing. Okay. And now, see that one they didn't strip back, because if you're going to use this dimmer for a single pole switch, not a three-way, you wouldn't have to strip this one off at all. Okay. So now I'm going to strip that off. Boy, they don't leave you much room here. I'm going to have to go back. I'm wondering if I should. I might have to take that little tag off of there. Just might have to. Dabbity nabbit. Yeah. Or at least some of it. Here I was trying to be so slick. Jerking that sucker off. I'll leave the electrical tape. How about that? And that should tell somebody that's probably the three-way. See, now I have enough. And that little tag's not going to be in my way. Okay. All right. Are we ready to push this in the box? I think we are. Well, not yet. We're ready to attach the wires. Okay, step by step. Let's do this. Okay, now before I just willy-nilly do this, I know the green wire is going to the ground, and we know this is the one they're calling the three-way, this one, right? That way I just stripped off. These two are the powers. One is power in, one is power out, and it should not matter which one is power in, which one's out, but I'm going to use the black one for the main power feed that goes in, that comes out of this box. We know that's that bottom one, right? And we're gonna say that this other black wire that goes up to the other one, which is the black, the red, the white, the ground wire, is going over to that other switch. I'm going to use that black one as the main power. And because it's not black, it's red, I'm going to hook I'm going to hook that red up to there. I'm going to hook the other red to the three-way. Okay? Do you see what I'm going to do here? I think so. And we know that's going to be at the bottom. Okay. So, and my power is off. And I'm just going to take the end just a little and kind of twist it that way. Oh, look at that. I got a little piece of the strand off of there. I guess I can hold it on there straight too. It's only one wire, right? And now I want to hold both of those straight up to get it on there all the way. Okay. We're just going to do the process of elimination, right? Here's the other red that's not the three-way. Not the three-way. I'm calling that red coming out of the box the three-way, okay? I think this all makes sense to you. Get your wire nuts on there tight. Sometimes it feels like it's tight, and then you start turning it some more and it keeps going. And sometimes you might have it tight thinking, okay, I got the wire on there, and you can pull the stranded right out. So you got to be careful with that as you check it, okay? Now my three-way is the one that I stripped from before. Okay, and that's going to go over there, so I can go, just seeing how I'm going to push that into the wall. It should be fine, like that. This one's just barely long, and I'm just going to take it and kind of twizzle it over the end. Sorry, I'm not showing you that. I think you're seeing it. Okay. Okay. That's tight. That feels tight. The ground, the green always is the ground. Most always, I say. That's the ground. Put that on. I'm not even going to worry about pushing it in the wall yet. I'm going to turn the power back on. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here and start messing with this. And as I come up here, I'm just going to have to be careful with this. I don't think I can shock myself on this. It's all plastic. There's no metal screws here, no brown metal screw or anything. I'll just be careful. Do that kind of business. I'm still kind of curious on that other light switch if I'm going to have to move that red wire like I was saying before. Okay, time will tell. Stick with me and let's see if this thing's going to work. So I'm going to turn the breaker back on and come back up here, and we're going to try this out. Okay, I have not touched anything yet. I don't like doing that. I like to have you see what I see. These lights happen to be turned on, because I have no idea when I put the switch on if that was off or if this was on or off when I hit it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before I do the dimmer, I'm going to turn this and see if they go off. And they do. Okay, you see here, these are off. We're going to do a few tests, so stick with me here. Okay, so far so good, right? Okay, we're going to turn it back on. And they go on, and we're going to dim them down and see if they dim. And you'll just have to see up here. See, it dims. Okay, I'm going to dim it. I'm going to go up, brighter, dimmer. Okay? Okay, so we know the dimmer's working. Okay, I was hoping this one was going to get dimmer. Okay, let's just look at this one here for a second. Okay, here's high and here's low. Okay, that dim's pretty low. See? I'm liking that so far. On, off, on, off. Now see, if I leave it in the dimmer condition over here in the dimming switch, when I turn it on and off, it's going to stay on the dim condition, right? So when I come out of the bedroom, late at night, I can turn that on and it's going to be dim. Now, theory has it, this one should be working just fine the way it is. I say theory because I did not mess around with any of the wires. It's still kind of funky that I didn't have to wire this exactly the same way as the other. So I'm gonna test this out, and I want to make sure I don't start getting around in here and touching the ground screw and the power screw over here, because this I could shock myself. Okay, I'm looking at this. These are going on and off just like they're supposed to. And now that I have that off, I'm just gonna go over here and turn this on, and it should go on now. Okay, it does. I've got that up high. The lights are up high. I think everything's fine. I'm not quite sure what the deal with that was, but that wasn't really part of the video, how to wire up a brand new light switch from scratch. Okay, but this is working easy peasy. Okay, and remember, the light on it when it was off is lit up at the top, and it is. And let's see what happens when it's up and I turn it off on this side. Okay, I got it off. Now, which side is lit? It's still the top. That's fine. Okay, and I think that's how all your most switches should be, apparently, is when they're off. It looks like it's up at the top. It's lit. I always thought on some I thought it was lit down here, so you would know where to push your finger on the orange light late at night. But I'm not sure about that. But see, you remember the power? This was lit on the bottom from before, and it's not lit right now because I didn't turn that breaker back on yet. Okay, because there's a separate breaker that goes from here on down that way. And maybe they did that for a reason. Maybe they wanted it lit down there. So see, when that one was right side up, this would have been lit up here, right? The other one was lit. Maybe they did that for a reason because they wanted it lit down here, and so one was lit up here, one was lit down there. I have no idea. I just don't know why they flipped this around, but it's working fine, and I don't really care if the light is down low or up high on that. We've got the dimmer switch next to it, as long as I've got a lit area here, because if it's late at night coming up the stairs or going down the stairs, I'll know where this area is. I'll know that the dimmer's here, that switch is there, and I can hit that or hit this or whatever. Okay, so I'm thinking everything is fine. So now I'm going to turn the power back off, and once I turn the power back off, then I can come over here, screw this back in there like I need to, put the cover plate on like I need to, and fish these wires back into the box. Okay, so we're going to fish these wires back into the box next. As for that wiring, maybe the second switch doesn't matter whether or not the red wire is screwed on this side or the red wire is screwed on the other side. Maybe it just matters that your first switch where the power is coming in, you make sure that you're putting that red wire on the three-way wire side. I'm thinking that, remember when this was hooked up before in that box? We had a black here, red there. I'm thinking, and the main black was main power coming into that box, coming into this light switch up to go up to the lights was down here. I'm thinking if they put the red wire over here instead of on this side, maybe the three-way wouldn't have worked properly. Maybe it matters just for the one particular side. Maybe. I just don't know. And maybe it doesn't matter anymore. It used to matter years ago where you put your three-way switch. I was taught. Okay, maybe as long as you get your power, your main power down here coming in, it's okay for your main power that comes into your box. Okay, I'm kind of at a loss to explain to you how the light switches work nowadays, because years ago, like I say, this was always the side that I would hook the red on. Okay, I took the main power, and then the main power didn't even matter which screw it was here. It could have been there or there. You know, as long as the red was on this side. That's how I used to do it. But hey, apparently they're different nowadays. Okay, so now I got the power off. We're gonna shove those wires back into the box. Yeah, you got to remember what I always tell people. Hey, I'm just an average Joe. If I can do it, you can do it. So you're seeing an average Joe hook this up, and I go through different steps and processes and thoughts rather than a professional electrician. I know pretty much how to do lots of things on electrical. I don't know everything. I've installed, I've hooked up, I've wired an entire house before a few times. I've installed sub panels and had to wire an entire sub panel before. But there's certain times when if I'm not the person who actually wired up something, sometimes it takes me a moment to kind of figure out how the last person did it, because there's always two ways to do things. Okay, so that's what was kind of throwing me. Okay, so these wires were pushed up just like how the old light switch was in here before, and I'm going to have to kind of see how to reposition these to try to get them back there as far as I can without getting my fingers grubby on the wall, let's say, and pushing these wires back and everything. And I should, like I say, I should have enough room, because there was enough room before. But see, there weren't any of these wire nuts before either, was there? So I've got to make sure I've got enough room for those on how I refinagle these wires. You see what I'm saying? Saying. So we gotta do those in such a fashion to where when I put that up there, I've got enough room to wonky these wires in there. And let's see, it's kind of snug. It's kind of snug, so it looks like I can do it. But on the ground wire, I'm going to grab my pliers, and I can pinch the ground wire and kind of push that back. I don't like doing that with regular wire that is not stripped, because you risk going through that possibly, you know. And so I'm thinking I might I don't know. I think I can do it. I might have to relocate this wire up because of the wire nut, you know, and then push that up in there behind that wire nut. There. That way I only have a couple wire nuts to mess with there. Okay. Now these are nice and flexible there. See? Nice and easy now, see? Okay. So now I had those little cardboard things in there, washers, and so now I can put those on further. See, I don't like to let the screws stick out so far because then I can't push it in nice and flat, like how I'm going to see if it screws in. I don't like to just hold it up to there and say, okay, yeah, it's going to go, and then try to ram it in with my screwdriver, or, oh, just get a battery-operated power drill, power screwdriver, Joe. Ram those screws in there, it'll go. Yeah, but you got to remember these screws are only going into a plastic box, first off. The screws are only so long, secondly. And if the threads could start ripping in there and twisting and not tightening up. Thirdly, fourthly, you might think oh yeah, your screws are going in all the way, but you're actually bending this top, you're folding it over a little bit because the back of this isn't going in far enough because it's hitting a wire nut. And then when you put the cover plate on, it sticks out because these are bent now. Lots of reasons why I use my screwdriver. And okay, yeah, fine. It takes me a couple minutes. Longer, big wow. Yeah. I can make sure I don't over tighten it and all that good stuff. Okay. At this point, I don't know what the gap is. This can be slid to the right or to the left, to the right or to the left. And I can line these up. I like to make this that the cover plate, once I put the cover on, you know, once I put the cover on, I stand back, and if it looks crooked this way or crooked that way, I know that I can adjust everything to make it nice and straight and make sure that the gap is nice. Even if it fits in here, sometimes it could be tight over here and a slight gap over here. You can check that too. There's all kinds of things you can check before you get done, okay? So I'll work on that and show you what it looks like when I'm done. I'm holding that up there. It looks nice now. The reveal is the same all the way once that gets tight. This looks straight and all that. So there's lots of adjustments you can do on there, okay? Remember that. Okay. I got it all buttoned back up. Looks like nobody was ever there. You know, and that's how you want it. There you go. That's how you want it to look when you're done. And speaking of getting done, remember I told you this three-way light switch was still good. I'm going to put this in my goodie bag with all my little incidentals, my wire nuts, my different wire and different things. I wrote three-way on it so I know. Put some masking tape around there. This is perfectly good. Whenever I need one, I got it all right there. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos. And if you didn't get your full of how to install a three-way dimmer, that's probably what I'm going to do next, is install that one down there. And I'll title it something slightly different from this one. And if you want to see that, oh, I got it turned off. I got the breaker turned off on that too. You want to see that, stick around.
What is our project today? We got the lights installed now. You might have seen that. I posted that on my channel. And I installed a dimmer switch over here, a 3-way dimmer switch for some other lights. This light was on that dimmer, and this one, in fact, I did all that, and I had to do lots of things. I took the light switch that was from over there because it was lit right up in here. See how you can see how it's lit? And so I put it over there, and then I put the 3-way dimmer switch over here. And that was for these lights. This one and that one. And now, since I did such a good job on that, Momi wants me to install one of these 2 lights here. It's mainly for ambiance, and also so this light doesn't shine in people's eyes as they go down the stairs and stuff. And late at night, I'd like to have these dimmed, because this one I can dim just as much as that over there. See? And these 2 look just like that one. And I put those on a single pole dimmer switch. See how bright those are? But when I throw the dimmer down, look at that. I can get them down to hardly anything. And that just gives you some ambiance at night. And that's what I like. These lights were really for wall sconces initially years ago when this condo was built 15, 16 years ago. And it just gave you a little bit of light, not really super bright, okay? And that's why they didn't have a dimmer switch on it. But I want to put a dimmer switch on here, and this happens to be a 3-way, and there's the other switch down there. That's where I'm going to put the dimmer switch. And the funny thing is, this dimmer switch, nowadays, most dimmer switches can be installed for single pole, which means at one location of a light switch, or 3-way, see? So you can do it at either or on a 3-way switch. And that's what we're gonna do. So if you wanna watch that, stick around. Now, of course, obviously the first thing I gotta do is turn the breaker off. So I'm gonna find the associated breaker for the 3-way light switches and turn it off. We don't wanna be working with hot wires, do we? Well, first things first, obviously, we're going to check make sure I got the right breaker, and I did. And now I'm going to pull this off. I'm hoping to be able to check everything from here and not have to pull the other box apart, because I kind of need to see where the power is coming in or something. We'll see. We'll see, because 3-ways are kind of tricky. You know, if you're unsure, you may have to hook it up one way and then hold your mouth just right and hook it up a different way. I'm hoping not to have to do that, and I'm hoping not to have to pull that other one out of the wall. Worst case scenario, if you got to pull the other 3-way switch out of the wall, to find out, to acclimate yourself where the 3-way wire is coming in, you may have to. But we'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna, good Lord. I'm thinking the power may be coming right from here. This is a pretty deep box. And it looks like, oh geez, get my phone light out. I think there's 3, oh maybe not. Oh yeah, it's kind of hard to see back in there. I think I got 3 Romex wires coming into this box. Good Lord. And that's why this box here is way deeper than standard boxes, so that they could get all their wires in there. Because what they should have done is ran their main power out of the other box upstairs, because you remember that's a 2-gang box up there. And there's probably more room in that box
but they ran the actual power wire for the other three-way out of there, which is on a different circuit. So that one upstairs has two circuits in the box. Does that make sense? Okay. So this box was pretty packed, but I should still have enough room to get everything in there. I'm going to have to finagle things through and all that kind of good stuff because I want that dimmer switch down here, and the dimmer switch is no fatter, no deeper than this one, okay? And so my first thing I'm going to do is undo the wires on the side, and I'm going to see if I can. The last one I took the screws out all the way. This one I'm hoping not to get the screws out all the way. And there's different ways to do it. I could undo all the screws and then get the wires off that way, or cut the wires if I have enough wires. If I have enough wire coming out of the box, which I do, I got plenty. You see how far this goes? So if I wanted to, let's do this one different than the last one. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm gonna remember. I gotta remember where all these wires go on the switch for right now, just so I keep myself acclimated. And all I'm doing is taking my screwdriver and bending the little curly Q on the end a little bit so I can get it off the screw. See? Like that. I'm going to guess that's the main power, or it could be this other screw under this black screw. And I'm not sure just yet, but I will in a minute. Okay. This one is up on the top. That red wire, okay. And this was actually installed properly. There is an actual top and bottom to three-way light switches. Did you know that? You see right in there? Do you see the word top? I don't know if you can see that or not. The light's kind of shining in here. See? Look at that. There is a top or bottom. And I've seen some people install these upside down on a three-way. It shouldn't really matter. I say that and I'm going to get somebody saying, "Hey Joe, you shouldn't have said it doesn't matter." Yes, of course it matters. I don't know exactly why it would matter. If you know why it would matter, let me know, okay? I'm just putting the screws in on the side because this three-way switch is still good. It's still fine. I can use it on another project. This was my other screw that came out, so I'm going to save that. It's got a little washer goodie on it. Because this is the location of the three-way that I want. I want this one. I wanted to replace this bottom one for a reason. And the reason is the top light switch up at the top of the stairs for this three-way is lit. Half of it is lit at night. This one is not lit at night. This is just a regular three-way. The other one, this little section right here lights up. And I want that lit at the top of the stairs. That way there's at least one light switch at the top of the stairs that's lit. Okay, since there's two switches right there, see? One is the dimmer that I installed before, but it's not a lit three-way dimmer switch, but that three-way switch next to it, that's not a dimmer switch, just a regular three-way switch, is a lit three-way switch. That makes sense. Okay, so now, before I do anything, I'm going to turn the power back on, and I'm going to figure out which one is the power that comes out of this box. That's our next step. Okay, my guess is it's this bottom one, and it's lit. See there? If I touch this, this should not be lit. This one, this red one should not be lit, and they're not. This one down here is a lit one. Okay? So the main power that's coming in is that. Okay? And when I had this facing up, it was, the main power was down here. And I thought that might be it. That was just a educated guess. Okay? So now I'm going to turn the power back off. So I look at this, it's no deeper than the other light switch. That's why I think I can fit it all back in there. But you got to remember, I've got 4 wire nuts to go in here. And they give you the wire nuts inside the box, and they're the little orange ones, okay? Because that's all you need. Because this wire is stranded wire, and I twist all of the strands together. And see, this is how it comes, like this. And this red wire here is not stripped, because you can use this for a single pole dimmer switch or a 3-way. Single pole means if you just have one light switch here that goes up to one light fixture, or 2 different light fixtures, but it can only be controlled at one location. That's called single pole. But if it's connected with this switch and another switch where you can turn the lights on and off at either location, it's called a 3-way. And so we're going to hook it up with 3-way. And see, this wire here says this wire is used in 3-way installations only. For single pole installations, do not remove this insulating label. Okay, so if you're going to use this switch for a single pole dimmer switch, okay, you would hook these 2 wires up and this one. These black, this black and red go to the black and black of the light switch, and the ground to a single pole light switch, and then you just wouldn't hook this one up. Okay, well, for 3-way, we are going to hook this up. So I put this black electrical tape on there because I'm going to take the label off, because I need to strip this wire back the same amount as this. Okay, so that's going to be, oh, would you look at that? I pulled on that, and this already has a little area right there. Oh, that's kind of cool, because I didn't know that from before. I just pulled this, and this pulled up on there, so it's already stripped. Because the last one I stripped it a little bit. I wasn't sure why it came off so easily. Okay, so now I'm going to twist that. I got to remember that's for the 3-way switch. Okay. All right. So now that we got that figured out, what do we do next? You know, I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull these wires out straight, and I keep going back and forth to the breaker for different things, and I'm wanting to make sure this is off, which it is. Because see how much wire is here. When I pull this out straight, you might think, what's the deal? Well, the deal is I got to push all that in, as well as 4 wire nuts behind this dimmer switch, and the dimmer switch box is packed full of other wire nuts and all kinds of stuff in there. So I want to get this a little bit shorter, and so I'm just going to kind of use my pliers to straighten these wires out like that. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the ground. I'm going to end up cutting these wires. Okay, see how long that is? My word! I just got to remember, this is my main power coming into this box. I think that's the only wire I need to know. And see, it's coming out of a wire nut that's got two other black wires. There are two other black wires coming out of it. And so I'm going to push that back in there. You know, this was a deep single gang junction box because there's 3 different Romex wires in there. There's 12-2 with ground, 12-2 with ground, and a 12-3 with ground. The 12-3 wire has the red wire in it. Okay, and see when I touch that, got that. So this goes up to that other 3-way switch. Okay. And then they ran power into this box to here. They ran power out of this box to go somewhere else. And then they ran this 3-way wire section up to that other light switch. I don't know why they did that from this one. And they didn't use the 2-gang junction box up above the stairs to do that. But they decided not to for some reason. I don't know why. Let's see. I'm just looking at all this and seeing if there's any possible way of readjusting wires back in there and that kind of thing. I don't really think there is too much. I think I'll be able to fit the small little orange wire nuts around everything, because I gotta push that back up in here, and I gotta be careful when I do all that. Okay. All right. So now I've gotta decide how short to cut these wires. Okay. And I'm probably gonna cut them, maybe about that long. I don't, like I say, I don't need them to go much further than that. Okay. Because I'm gonna fold these up. So yes, I am doing this slightly different than the one that I installed previous, because I didn't have to cut any of those. Bye, baby. Okay, so now I'm going to strip these wires back. And I don't have to strip them back but about 3/8 of an inch or so, because I'm using the orange wire nuts, remember? Do it off a little bit and then try some more, or what have you. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Okay, now I gotta find all my little pieces on the floor that I just stripped off. I forgot to vacuum upstairs when I got done with that other one. This will remind me. Okay, so now you remember what we're going to do with this. This is the one that goes to 3-way. And in fact, 3-way, both of these wires are hooked up on the 3-way light switch. So does it really matter which wire I do over there? I mean, one of these wires, okay, these 2 wires here, all right, one of those has to go to the black power that's coming into the box. And I'm just going to go black to black, okay? And then we got a black wire going out and a red wire going out. Does it matter? Can I put the red 3-way on the red, and can I put the other red on the black, or do I have to flip-flop them? I don't think I have to flip-flop them. I think I can do it either way, because this one has to be hooked up for 3-way. Either one of those, I think, that I hook up can be for 3-way. I'm thinking. And I'm gonna, and worst case scenario, if my thinking is wrong, when I when I turn it back on, turn the power back on, then I can flip-flop these two wires back and forth. Not this wire here, this is the hot wire coming out of this box that's feeding this light switch, the three-way dimmer switch, okay? You gotta know which wire it is that's feeding it. And that's why I took my wire test. That's why I had to turn the power back on. That's why you gotta remember after you do that step to turn the power back off, because if you forget, this is gonna be hot and it could shock you. I've done it before. Okay, so for kicks, I've got two reds here. I'm gonna take one red, and the red, that's not the three-way, that's that three-way, and I'm just gonna hook it up here. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna work either way, whether or not I hook this red to this black, or if I hook that red to the other red. You follow me? Pull on that. You could, if you want, wrap electrical tape around there if you're not quite sure about a good connection. Okay. And I'm going to take this red, which I got my black tape on, and I'm going to hook these two together. I'm trying to do this so you can see it. Now usually these wire nuts get nice and tight, but for some reason every once in a while you put an orange wire nut on, you think, ah, no problem, that's not hard. And you do it and you pull on the stranded wire, and the stranded wire pops right out, because it's just how it kind of twisted around everything and you thought it was tight because the wire nut was tight. Sometimes that doesn't happen unless you're hooking up maybe two solid wires and a stranded wire to a yellow wire nut, let's say. You know, something like that. I'm taking the green wire to the ground wire, which is a bare wire. It looks kind of like it's white, but it's just got paint and sheetrock mud on it. The white wires, you don't hook a white neutral wire to this light switch. Okay? Look at that. It seems like this wire nut's not funny. It seems like it's not tightening up. I don't know what the deal is. All the white wires are generally hooked up in a light switch box all together under a wire nut. Okay? And now see, that time it's, well, I don't know. Come on, here it goes. Okay. That's tight now. Okay. All the whites are under a wire nut back there. And so now I'm not going to mess with putting any of those wires back in yet, because I want to make sure this works, right? Because worst case scenario, if I have to flip-flop these two wires that weren't the power wire back and forth, I may have to, but I don't really think I'm going to have to do that. Okay, I'm going to turn the power back on and we're going to see what happens. First off, I want you to know I don't generally, as a rule, check anything out and do all that kind of stuff and see why it's not working like I thought it was working before I turn the camera on. I have not touched this yet, okay? And so it just so happens that these lights are on because of the way the switch is turned on this, or the switch is turned on at the other one. Now, I am going to carefully turn this off and see if they go off. And they do go off. Okay. And now I am going to turn this back on, and I'm going to see if the dimmer works, and son of a gun, the dimmer does work. Okay. I'm not going to call it complete just yet. Sometimes it's funny, if you hook up dimmers improperly, the three-ways, if I were to get all this stuff mixed up a different way, and if you weren't kind of paying attention, sometimes
you might be able to get one light switch to work while the other three-way light switch does not work, okay? I've seen it happen. I've done it before, okay, when replacing, not wiring it up on my own. So I'm going to turn this off, and these lights should go off, okay? That's good. Now see, obviously you can't dim these from this location. You can only turn it on. And so late at night, if I'm coming out here late at night, I can see that this one's lit from before, and I can go over here and I can see this one's lit. And then I can hit that if I want to go down the stairs late at night for something. And when I'm down there, I'm going to leave this one off and turn it back on down here. And so what I'll end up doing is I'll probably leave this dimmer switch in low position downstairs. Okay, we're not done here just yet. I want to make sure, now that I turned it off, those lights, I want to make sure they go back on when I hit this. And they do. And the dimmer works and everything's fine. So see, I can leave this dim. And that's dim. I can leave this, really dim. I could leave it as dim as that. And if I leave the dimmer switch down, then late at night when I come out of the bedroom and I hit this light switch up here, these lights are going to be in the dimmed location. You see what I mean? Okay, so now I just hit that and see they're dim because the dimmer is in the dim. Now, could I put that dimmer switch up here? Yeah, I could have, but then I wouldn't have had an orange light. And son of a gun, I got a dimmer, three-way dimmer switch with a light, a lit. It's called a lit three-way dimmer switch with the paddle here, and this here, and this lit. Can you believe that? I got all of that about 3 years ago. But son of a gun, I went to the store, I could not find one. I don't think they even carry them anymore at the Home Depot where I was at, because I didn't see anything. They showed me, okay, all this stuff over here is all of our dimmers. I spent, I don't know, 25 minutes looking at every single box. It should say lit on there somewhere. Lit dimmer switch. And then single pole or three-way. Okay, could not find one. And so that's why, and could I have went to 3 or 4 more hardware stores in town and looked around and spent another hour and a half trying to find one? Yeah, I could have. But I'm thinking maybe I wouldn't have been able to find one. Could I have waited on this and gone to Amazon and checked in there? I'll bet you they got one somewhere. I'll bet you money. If you want a lit three-way dimmer switch with the on-off, or just this going down and then shutting off without this on-off here, but as you take this down it goes off, I'll bet you they have one. But I didn't want to go, I wanted to just get it now. So that's why I'm putting it down there, because I don't really care if it's lit or not down there. Do you see what I mean? I only care that at the top of the stairs I've got one of these light switches that's lit now. This three-way does not light. I wanted to, but I don't care about that one being lit, because going down the stairs, I'm going to hit this anyways. Okay? And this is going to be my light. So I didn't care about that. So I had another three-way lit one that was here initially. And so when I took it out, I put it over here for these lights. And so this one's lit now. See? That's lit. That's not a dimmer one, but the dimmer is over there. And I've got that dim for these two lights. So late at night, when I'm in the bedroom, if I want to come out here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for this light. Okay? And it's light enough. And when I hit that, I want these kind of in the dimmed location, the dim position first, because I don't want it to be 2 o'clock in the morning, turn this on and have those lights like blind me or something. Because trust me, these can go pretty bright. I'll show you. Watch this. Okay, I got it all the way up. See how bright that is? It's pretty bright. Look at that. Late at night, that's going to be bright. So I could leave it like that all the time if I want. I could leave it like that during the day if I want. Then at night, before I go to bed, I can put the dimmer down. At the bottom of the stairs, I can put the dimmer down for the other lights. Okay? And if I want, see this light here? This is warm white bulb, a floodlight. I could get a white or a cool white floodlight bulb, and I could probably get it in LED. And chances are, I think this is just the standard 60 watt or 65 watt floodlight. And I should get that changed to an LED because an LED for that is probably 9 watts, 7 to 9 watts, maybe no more than 13 watts instead of 60 watts, okay? And I can get it in warm white, which is like that, or cool white. Cool white is going to look close to this, okay? And so if you want that to dim and you want it that cool white, I'll bet you can get one of those at the store. Now I talked to Momi and I asked her, I thought she was going to say, yeah, I want that cool white, because all of our lights up here now are this white. This cool, it's called cool white, bright white. I think it's just called cool white. Okay, see, I can dim those too. That's a single pole dimmer there, because it's for one location. I can only turn these lights on right from this location, okay? And then it doesn't have the on off there. It's just there and that's off. So if you're not careful, you can have it thinking it's off and you're still running electricity to this all day long because you don't have this off. Now it's off. I don't have to worry about that over here because I got that paddle on, off, or off there and on there. Do you see what I mean? This just dims all the way down. That's not going to turn it off. That's going to turn it off. Not that. You see what I'm saying? And so there's all kinds of different setups you can do at the store. But when I was talking to Momi, I thought she would want that changed to cool white. Nope, she wants the yellow. She wants the yellow light there. So it just, to me, it looks kind of funky because that's the only yellow light throughout this whole area. But it is in a little alcove. It is above that, and I think she's going to put either that mirror there or maybe some sort of artwork or picture there or something. And that light is a little bit softer light in that area. So yeah, that's fine. Fine and dandy. I don't mind. She wants that. That's fine. But I could change that from a 65 watt flood bulb to a 13 watt or 9 watt LED floodlight, and I would get it in the warm white color so that it's that same color. You can get LEDs like that. Did you know that? You can get them that color, or you can get them the bright color. You got to look on the box though. Okay, so that pretty much does it in a nutshell. Isn't that cool? That didn't take very long. It took me longer to explain everything, but you know what? That's what you get with my videos. I'm not actually working with my hands right now, but I'm trying to teach you something in a classroom setting on how the three-way switches work and all that kind of stuff, and the different things you can do with them, okay? So I'm liking this. This is working just fine. Now I've got to remember, before I do anything, I've got to turn the power back off. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to keep this three-way switch. This three-way switch is a perfectly good switch. It still has my mounting screws on there, my side screws I didn't take off all the way, and then I'm going to put masking tape around this, fold it in, and write three-way on the masking tape on both sides. And then I'm going to put that in my little red satchel with all my other variables and my different things for doing electrical. So in case I need that again, I've got it. This is not rocket science, so it's pretty easy to put this all back on. I've turned the power back off. And what I do is with these mounting screws, I take these out, and there's a little cardboard piece on the back that sometimes you have to unscrew, or you can pull it fast. Okay, I'm taking those out because once I get these wire nuts in there, I want to push this straight in there without these screws being in my way to make sure I've got enough clearance for everything. And I don't have these screws in my way to allow for that when I put these wire nuts in, because you know I'm going to have to position these wire nuts in there, and I should be able to do it. And it's just about the process of elimination. Look and see where the first one's going to go and how you're going to fish it down. I see some loops in there of the other wires, and I can push some of the wire nuts straight through that loop. And you know what I'm going to do? Do something slightly different on this one. I'm going to put electrical tape on the wire nuts and on the wire. Okay, I didn't do that on the other video. I thought I would do it on this one. Okay, and I just want to be kind of careful with not letting this drag back and forth too much like this on the wall. Because if you have flat paint on your wall, you'll have a mark there and you think, son of a gun. You try to wipe it off, and maybe you wipe the paint or you start cleaning it off and you don't get it, and now you've got a mark on your flat paint. But in this case, I've got eggshell finish on here, so if I were to get a slight mark, I should be able to wipe it off. Just makes it a little tricky with these wires in my way. This will assure that your wire nuts will never come off, let's say. Some electricians do this to any time they install something with a wire nut. Can you believe that? I don't do it very often. I mean, would I have really done this? Nah, probably not. But I'm just, like I say, I'm doing it because I didn't do it last one, and I'm just showing you what you could do if you wanted. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of get those out of my way and hope that I keep this from rubbing too much on the wall, dabbing at it. I can hold it up here like this. Make sure your power's off, right? Okay, I think I've done it. And you can take some wire cutters if you want. You don't have to stretch it and try to break it off that way. Just take your wire cutters. You know, simple enough, yes. Okay, look at this, see, make sure you're facing up. Now I can slide those wires back out. Because they don't have as much wire in here, I can fold it a couple different times and see how I'm going to get this stuff in here. Good grief. And hopefully I can do it in such a way. See, I'm not liking how I'm folding that one. I think I'm going to have to fold it to double and then up. There we go. And then back. Okay. And now you can kind of look at them and kind of make a determination how you think you should reroute those wires. See, I'm pushing that out of the way to keep this black kind of over this way, so when I push this in, I've got it kind of set up.
And you just, that one I'm going to see if I can't get rid of that wire nut inside the hole. Good grief. That's the ground, and because there's, I can grab it with my pliers and kind of bend on it and kind of get it in there. I don't like to normally do that with wires, but I can with the ground wire. Okay, now I can kind of, see, I mean the box is packed because I got all kinds of other wires in there. And I got 3 extra wire nuts. That's why I keep these screws out of my way, so now I can hold that up there and push it up against there, making sure I'm tight. If I'm out a little bit, I don't want to think, I'll just put the screw in, the screw will push the wire nut in there. No. Lots of times it's not going to do that. You're going to strip your screw out of the plastic box, or the screw's going to hold, and you're going to bend the top flap of your light switch. Let's say, and then it's not going to fit in there properly. This may be tight to the wall, but this might be puckered out in the middle, and then your cover plate doesn't fit on there very well. Okay, you see I've got it now. You see the effort that it took for me to get it in there? Now do you see why I cut those wires just a hair shorter? I mean, I might have still been able to fit it in. Mind you, I didn't take that much wire off, but it might have prevented it just enough to fit in the box properly and not have to fold another way or have the wire in the way of something else, you know? Okay? And that's why I like to screw these in by hand, and my pet peeves, make sure these come straight out and I can wiggle it back and forth and see that it's going to go in nice and snug and straight. So when I put the cover plate on, it fits nice and straight. And all these mounting holes, where I'm putting that, you can slide this to the right or to the left in case your mounting box isn't perfectly plumb. Then you can line this up, and I kind of stand back and look at it and see, okay, this needs to be slid to the left. So loosen it up, slide it to the left. If that's already pushed all the way over to the left, then maybe if it still needs to go, maybe it's the bottom needs to go over to the right. You see? And so I'm kind of looking at the box too and stuff. And I try to eyeball it the best I can, and I'll know once I put the cover plate on. When I put the cover plate on, I can look at it after I screw it down, stand back, and then make a determination. Is it perfectly straight up and down? Or if not, you know, spend a couple extra minutes. Undo it. Okay, it needs to go over at the top right, just barely. Now take your screw, loosen it, slide it over, tighten it back up, and make sure you line it up properly, that it's coming out straight, that it's not cocked at an angle, and that your cover plate is nice and straight. Okay, so I'll finish that up and we'll be done in a minute. Here's my old switch, but hey, it still works, right? So don't throw it away. Save it for next time. There's always going to be a next time. You know what I mean? And that's funny too. This torpedo, I call this a torpedo one. The round one here. Initially, this one here, I put duct tape on the end. Can you tell? I put 2 layers, boom, boom, and then boom, boom. So that this light wouldn't shine in people's eyes coming up the stairs and also going down the stairs. See? Right there. And I put those prior to installing
the three-way switch because I wasn't quite sure if a three-way switch would dim LEDs. And did you know most three-way switches now, they'll dim just about anything. I was looking on the box, and I think it was LEDs, incandescent, CFLs, and it might have even been something else too. I'm not quite sure. I think I threw it away. Oh, where is it? Oh, good grief. Maybe I can't find it. I just got some stuff for the cat. Let's just see. Let's see. There it is. Controls dimmable LED, CFL, and incandescent and halogen bulbs. As long as any of those bulbs are dimmable. And did you know some bulbs are not dimmable? I put in some LEDs once upon a time, and the particular LED bulbs that I put in were not dimmable in a kitchen for my auntie. I was reading the thing and the dimmer switch wasn't working properly. This was quite a few years ago. And it said you have to have dimmable, or you have to have a dimmable light switch that was dimmable for LEDs. I think that's what it was too. So her switch just wouldn't work. And we had to get a different switch in there. And nowadays, I think they make it so that it will dim anything, like I was just reading, and maybe all bulbs now are dimmable for any dimmer light switch. I'm not sure about that, but when you get light bulbs at the store, make sure they're dimmable, because you never know when you're gonna need them. You know what, on that one there, I'm just gonna leave it on. I'm gonna leave it on there, and at that end, I'm gonna leave that one on that end too. Because every once in a while, if you don't have them dimmed, you want to go down the stairs, this one could be shining in your eyes when you turn it on, or vice versa. So because that one's going down the stairs, I'm going to leave the duct tape on there, even though I've got a dimmer switch on there. And that's about the only time you're probably going to need duct tape. You shouldn't need them for up here or anything. Okay, or even on these side ones. If when you turn this on all the way, and if that end right there really bothers you, and if you know you're going to have it up all the way more so than down, you could put duct tape on there. I would take that out, put the duct tape, use some carpet scissors or something afterwards, and trim it off. And you might have to put 2 layers of duct tape on there and then trim it off. Nobody's ever really going to even notice it except you, because the trim on it is the same color as the duct tape. Okay, that's not duct tape. You almost think it is, huh? You could put it on, what I would do on this one, you could put it on that end if it really bothers you. But like I say, most of the time, I'm going to be the one turning this, or Mommy, and most of the time, I'm not going to have it up all the way, looking straight at it. Okay, you got it up all the way, and that bothers you, put some duct tape on it. Be done with it. I told you I had a bag of goodies. I got extra wire in there, 12 gauge, 14 gauge, extra pigtail wires, wire nuts, crimpers, extra light switches, single pull light switches, 3-way light switches, all that kind of stuff. Okay, all right, I got the power back on. I'm just going to test it one more time, and everything's working fine. Okay, and the only other thing you do when you're done is don't forget to clean up. Okay, so I'm going to do that next before I get in trouble. That's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos, and I really couldn't tell you what I'm going to do next, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. And you know what? I think I know exactly what I'm going to do. There's a smoke alarm here, and I've got to replace it. Even though this smoke alarm is a 10-year smoke alarm, it works fine, and it's only about 5 years old. It's got about another 5 years worth of life, but I have to replace it. And I'll tell you why next time.